News breaking today that we start the show with. With all due respect to my New York Knickerbockers winning the NBA Cup last night over Victor Wembanyama and the Spurs in Las Vegas, the breaking news comes out of the National Football League. Listen, I like being right here on the program, talking about the Miami Dolphins being eliminated from the playoffs on Monday night by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Ironically, the team that they made a trade with between the Steelers and the Dolphins early on in the calendar year for football, certainly being played. Jalen Ramsey and Jonnu Smith for Minkah Fitzpatrick. And I was talking about, hey, I think Tua and McDaniel are going to be back. And the reason why I said Tua Tagovailoa was going to be back is because of his big fat contract, which we'll get to in a second. Then Mike McDaniel, we got a soundbite from him on the Tuesday program the day after being eliminated, and his response about whether Tua was going to still be the quarterback in the final 3 remaining games this year, even though they do not have anything to do with the Dolphins playing in the postseason this year. He said everything's on the table. I'm like, okay, well, that's interesting because the table is filled with guaranteed dollars for Tua in 2026. And then comes the news today that, you know what's on the table? Quinn Ewers starting for the Miami Dolphins against the Cincinnati Bengals in Week 16. And that is it. Our buddy Tom Pelissero also tweeting it out today. And his future, as he says, is now clearly up in the air as the Dolphins are kicking the tires on the 7th-round selection out of Texas, who a lot of folks thought it should stay in college football one more year, make more money in his name, image, and likeness front. But he came out, slipped all the way down to the 7th round, basically held the beer of Shedeur Sanders' long-ass draft. And he winds up now becoming a rookie starting quarterback from this rookie class. Cam Ward, Jackson Dart, Tyler Shuck, Shedeur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel. Now this guy, Quinn Ewers. Tua Tagovailoa has been benched for Quinn Ewers. That has happened in Miami just a couple of years after he signed that big fat contract. Chris Greer, the general manager, he was shown the door after 9 games this year. He's gone. And I thought Mike McDaniel would stick with Tua because, as Kurt Warner's going to join us in an hour or two, he's always been saying that the McDaniel system is perfect for Tua. And if you're going to be sticking with Tua, which the contract seems to demand, then McDaniel is the guy. But McDaniel now saying, let's take a look at Quinn Ewers. That's kind of gutsy on his part.
Indeed.
To say the least. Yeah. Unless he's like, what else do I have to lose?
That, I think, is a part of it, too.
Or they are all sitting there in the front office and ownership, and McDaniel's maybe been told you're still here. We're not gonna dead cap you. Obviously, coaches aren't on the cap, but a lot of owners don't like paying coaches to not work for them. And maybe they basically said, let's see what we got, because if we're going to go into this offseason wondering about Tua's future, we might as well see if we got the guy here. And we'll see. I don't know. Does anybody know? Zach Wilson must be sitting there saying, what does a kid have to do to get one more chance in this league? Because Zach's sitting there, and he might be perfect for this system, and maybe if Quinn Ewers does not perform well against Cincinnati in Miami's final 2 games of the year, maybe Zach will get the shot. Don't know. We'll hear what McDaniel has to say. And those are 2 crucial games. Not just, obviously, from Miami's evaluation at the quarterback spot, but Tampa and New England, that means a lot to them. And, by the way, to Carolina and Buffalo as to whether those teams win or lose. So the Dolphins making this move, with all due respect to your fantasy team, in reality, this is big-time stuff. And what of Tua moving forward? Well, if this is the end, because this just is 100%, what more lack of confidence, vote of no confidence can you get than you're benched over the final 3 games of a season? And we need to see what we have with the rest of the quarterback room. It doesn't matter what your contract says. So they're seriously considering moving on with life without Tua. And if they cut him, if they say we're done here, I don't want to get too deep into the designating it after June 1st cut sort of stuff. I'm not a capologist. I don't play one on TV. I read, I talk to people, I have it explained to me by folks. Thank you, Tom Pelissero. And the dead cap hit for Tua Tagovailoa would look at the $85 million dead cap hit that the Broncos took with Russell Wilson. They would hold its beer. The $85 million that Russell Wilson was dead capped on the Broncos ledger is nothing compared to the $99.2 million cap hit that Tua would be counting for over the next 2 years. You can split it up post June 1st cut. $67.4 million in next year's cap, and then $31.8 million in the 2027 cap for Miami. Ouch. Now, if they stick with him next year, one more year, because he's due $54 million guaranteed in 2026. If they stick with him and say, all right, we're going to pay you $54 million, you might as well quarterback our team. And then they decide it's another lost year, or this, we've really given it every possible shot. He's gone. Then the next year, the $31.8 million cap hit in 2027 would only go up. Let me get this exact number here. It would only go up a brief touch, and it would go up to $34.8 million. Because he's only owed $3 million in guarantees for 2027. Okay, on March 15th. Now, this is, again, wild if they do it. And you look at that and go, well, that would just be impossible to overcome. Again, you look to Denver. Denver cuts Russell Wilson, says, we are paying you your money to go play somewhere else. And we're taking $85 million over 2 years on our cap. And we're going to then draft a new quarterback. How'd that work out for Denver? Because at the time when I'm like, good luck to you building a team that way. When you're paying a rookie quarterback that little, you're supposed to spend more money around him and try and win in his first contract. That's the jackpot in the NFL. Draft one, win in his first year when you could pay a bunch of other people, and then you'll deal with paying him moving forward. But at least you'll know when you pay him moving forward, he's already won one and he's worth the money, as opposed to what we're talking about right here, where you're betting on, we saw enough out of Tua and we don't want him to walk and we believe in him, higher register. So we got to pay him. And so what's Denver done with that massive dead cap hit? They've only won 22 games, and they're currently the 1 seed 2 years into it with 3 games to go, with Bo Nix looking terrific and nobody wondering what's up. Now, the difference between the Russ stuff, the Denver stuff, and what this is right now is the reason why they dead capped him and did all that is he was due $37 million guaranteed investing the next year. As we're talking about here, it's just $3 million here. That's way less. So the Dolphins can absolutely keep Tua because they don't have to dead cap him because there's so much more money to come. Also, you could make the case that Denver's roster was a little bit better than Miami's right now. 2 years ago. You could make the case Sean Payton's also a coach that you can believe in because of his track record. So it's not really apples to apples here, but if you're Miami, you're like, I'm looking at Denver, and the difference between their dead cap and our dead cap hit is $14 million. The cap goes up every year. It's kind of like if you want to do what cost of living, it's as close to apples as you can get. We believe in our roster, and we just believe enough that Tua ain't it anymore, and we're out. So my supposition of a couple days ago of, yeah, Tua will be there. Maybe proven correct at the end, but right now I'm a little bit more on shaky ground, believing myself from 2 days ago.
Rich, like you, I also like being right. I try to tell everyone for years about these contracts. You don't have to do it.
Right.
And now Miami is an absolute cap hell because of it.
Yeah, because Denver in year 2 of the dead capping of Russ, which is this year, $32 million on their cap this year. By the way, Russell Wilson is $32 million on the Broncos cap this year, and they have 12 wins, and they're the 1 seed in the AFC with 3 games to go. So they still had $52 million in cap space coming in this year. You know, they signed Hufanga, they signed a whole bunch of other players too. So, man, that's what's up in Miami. Tua Tagovailoa has been benched for Quinn Ewers with 3 games to go. And the Dolphins are absolutely kicking tires on the kid they drafted and the notion of taking on almost 9 figures in dead cap money over the next 2 years. That's the headline. The Wednesday before Week 16. Hey, you made it all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Check us out every single day streaming live on Disney Plus and the ESPN app 12 to 3 Eastern.